Good evening, everybody. Let's do a quick sound check, see if you guys can hear me okay. Sounds like it's okay for me, but we'll see what you guys can hear. So you guys are doing that. Let me go over here. No. Sounds good. All right, awesome. There you go. I know that's why you guys are here. That's why you logged in tonight. Because it wasn't because of the markets. There we go. James is like, I'm in. James, how was that chicken? Did you eat it yet? I'm assuming you ate it already. You guys can't post food pictures without me asking, if you guys ate it or not. Just how it works, man. Just how awesome. I still want to know why is it that mom won't eat beer can chicken? Because I mean, beer can chicken is pretty legit. I don't cook it often, like I don't have it often, but people that do, man, whew, some tender chicken. Ernest hasn't chimed in yet. I'm sure he's got a recipe for some beer can chicken. Yep, my mom is a saint. Yeah, but I mean, come on. I mean, saints can drink alcohol. I mean, you know, Jesus would have been, basically a saint, and he gave people wine. Drink this blood or drink this wine, for it is my blood, or something like that. Whatever it was. I mean, come on. Monks have been trying that trick for years, right? We're gonna bless this and turn it into wine. All right, so Marcus did exactly what I thought they were gonna do. Absolutely nothing. It's one of those things. You guys can see the 24-hour pip changes: 4, 6, 16, 8, 29, 12, 2, 26. I mean, going into it, I knew with no news it was going to be a slow day. It was good because it was busy. I didn't get to look at too many charts today. There was obviously trades on the smaller time frames, kind of micro moves that you could take. But as far as kind of overall big picture stuff, no lot there, right? God, I'm starting. I haven't. Just FYI, I have not yawned the entire night, and bam, I hit play, and all of a sudden, bam, I start yawning. It's like 9 o'clock, and I turn into a pumpkin these days. I try to drink some of this. I'm drinking tea tonight, not coffee, just FYI. Yeah, I talked about it this morning that I expected it to be a slow day. Again, oil going into tomorrow. That's about the hottest thing that we have to look at right now. Going into Thursday. Thursday is where I think most of the explosions and everything are going to happen. I think tomorrow night will probably be a better, bit of analysis. At least we'll be able to look at things that pertain. Right now, 4-hour zones aren't going to matter as much because again, they can grind up to them with no catalyst and just kind of eat them up. So there's not too much there. I am liking this over here when I start seeing Brexit over here. You guys see Brexit. Labor Director Tom Watson calls for referendum ahead of election. It's just so much drama over there, but I like it. I want more and more and more. Keep Brexit up in the headlines. I think that'll create some volatility. I'm listening. I don't actually believe that beer does anything to chicken. Of course it does. How could it not when half of it steams out of the inside of it? It's physics, man. Physics. It's the same thing as like spritzing ribs. All right. This is always interesting when we see gain capital over here. But again, Brexit I think is a big thing. I love this one. USD CAD plunges to new 6-week lows amid rising oil prices. It's like, okay. Plunging is, point, minus, 28 pips. So, we'll see. Plunging. I love that. It's plunging. And again, on the 24-hour, it doesn't look bad, but it's down 0.2%. But that's plunging. Yeah, so it's slow. Going into tomorrow, what do we have for tomorrow? Oh, you know what? Let me change these all back again. Hold on. I'll even make it fair. I'll click everything and see how much we have. Yay, one thing. Well, that was today. All we got tomorrow? Cordo. Okay, so we do have core PPI. PPI used to be a bigger mover. As you guys can see, core is off, slightly. They tend to miss it up or down a little bit, but it, typically just bounces back and forth in there. I don't know that that's going to be a huge mover. And then same thing, you can see PPI is pretty much dead on. Eh, It's consumer inflation, but we're already seeing that. And they're saying there's going to be no inflation, which no inflation is kind of a good thing for more interest rate cuts. Um, I don't know how that would be, but I think I don't know. Basically they made the comment about how this is going to be kind of a not necessarily a one and done, but it was basically a one and done situation unless X, Y, and Z happened, and a lot of those X, Y's, and Z's happened. But it's not like the economy like really fundamentally changed, and especially now that they're talking about, oh well, we're gonna solve this trade war. Now that we're serious about it, we're gonna solve it and fix it, and it's gonna be all everything's gonna be great. Um, all that's going to do is stimulate the economy even more than what we saw before. Once that is concern is there, all confidence will go up. People will start spending again. Farmers will start doing well. You'll see production across the board. So it's interesting that we see no inflation whatsoever. That's the forecast, is that we're going to see no inflation at all, and yet we're still dealing with the rate cut. And people are talking about again, if you go into kind of the next kind of piece of this, they're talking about lowering it again. Okay, and it's just funky. So, I don't know. It's all making, it's all getting crazy. But again, there's really no movement. And I really don't care about this side as much as I care about this upper piece. I want some movement. So let's go into charts here and see what we got. So you guys can see, let's go back over here. All right. So, okay. Looking to see what we did on the 4 hour. Again, this is where we're starting to kind of flatline, right? Pair didn't move too much. We kind of, using this kind of top area as a little bit of a trigger. Okay, we go back and we look. We have this little bit of I guess this is where our alert was, right? The alert is supposed to say, hey, listen, price has risen enough. Come on, check this out. We're getting into a single wick against a wall. There's a potential here for another short. And if you guys look across, I think last night when we did this, it's at what? 20. We were here. We're basically right here. So we've moved a total of about 40 pips, but just kind of like grinding up and grinding back down again. So really no trend. And again, it's getting really, really low over here. Okay, you guys are starting to see a little bit of a green pullback again with the gap push up base, and it just kind of, I'll stretch this out, make it look like it's really good, right? This kind of movement, right? But you'll see, okay? Any large explosive bits of movement in here? Not really. I mean, here's a bit of a pop retest, right? Pop up, down, down, up, down. So again, it's really kind of just bordered right around this 79, or what is it, 73, 70 area. Again, no strong movements, no strong push, even on the 4 hour. The only thing we have that even looks somewhat decent is a zone here. Okay, we had this bit of a pullback. It's a double wick bottom here. Don't necessarily like it as far as an area for a hold, because we have established orders here and cleared orders here. Okay, so that's not even that great. Nothing in here shows me any bit of explosiveness. The only thing we have that's not horrible looking is that little bit right there. Okay, now that is, God, it's a huge, yeah, we're talking about 120 pips away. Okay, I was like, wait a second, what? Yeah, got a lot of movement. So if anything, we're looking towards this top section here. And again, looking back, this would be the wick over wick, or I guess actually a single wick against a wall. And this is the wick that kind of went back up in this kind of blow through the bottom, retest, and then drop. So let me put a red kind of double marker right there so we know when we're entering the zone. Okay, but even so, we're based off of where price is right now in this pair. You're looking about having to travel 60 pips. Okay, the ATR on the daily is, again, what it can do in one day is only 63. Okay, so if it does nothing but go straight up, we may get to that entry tonight or tomorrow. But besides that, we really don't have much with basically no news for tonight. All right, so still kind of a holding pattern on this one. Looking top or bottom, or those are the kind of the two sides that we're kind of looking at. Now, Aussie New Zealand. Aussie New Zealand is still stuck inside the same kind of box we drew last night, the up and down. Now, here we are right now at 19. If you guys go back and look, this is where we were at the start of 19 last night. You can see we really didn't have much difference. It did slam down and then come back right back up again. Now, if you're looking down on the 30-minute kind of to see what it did, okay, this wasn't a bad area, but we didn't even get that low down there, right? We kind of came a little bit below it, okay? And what did it do? It retraced back up again, but it really didn't give any signals, right? It just kind of went down and then kind of came back up as the market goes. And it's exactly where it was, right? You guys look right here. Here's 21. Go back and we look at 21, which is right there. Okay, so here is price. So again, all it did was really retrace the spike that we had down yesterday. And again, this was more or less based off of the news from last night. Okay. Do we have a trend? Looking over here, now we have sideways upward trend confirmed. We're at the top. There's 2 wicks. Really not a whole lot. You guys can see we've literally been since August 30th, we've been just basically sideways. We kind of popped up, came down, and popped up. And we probably will probably I'm thinking we'll probably come back down again. The way that it's looking right now, it is forming a lower high now. Again, that failure to go higher aspect. Most likely we're probably going to do something along that, as I'm assuming what we're going to do. Would be somewhere along that, filling this area. And again, taking us back down the bottom of the channel. But as far as do I have an entry on this one? Not really. Nothing that I really love. I mean, even if we get a nice kind of push red down into here, I don't know if I'm willing to take it. This one kind of came off very, very fast. There's a little bit of a sawtooth down here. I don't really, even for a short, there's really no entry on this one. Not a whole lot. Going into Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar, again, this one is kind of flat. You guys can see it's very, very flat. And we talked about this last night. So we were hoping to get a bit higher in this one. We were unable to do that. We didn't even get to our trigger point before it started to kind of turn and flip on us. And again, these are 4-hour candles, right? If we look back, here's 19. There's the 19 candle. So it started here and ended here. So we're exactly where we were. 21, 21 right here. So literally no movement. Went up a little bit, and we're talking about 20 pips up, 20 pips back down again. So no trend. Still looking for whether if we can get higher or some type of, again, nice confirmation. We have a red, green, red here. But again, single wick. And again, had you got into this thing, you wouldn't have gotten stopped out. It would have went immediately heat, back down to break even, a little bit of heat again, and then we're back down to break even right now. So even if you had taken this on a larger time frame, you still were at the exact same place we were last night. Okay. If this was tomorrow night and we had the same exact setup, I would be looking to take this short in a NetX pair, something a little bit farther out of the money to continue this kind of push down. Just with the amount of news we have. Unfortunately, right now we don't. Okay, there's no news tomorrow that's really going to be able to drive this thing down. It's going to grind, if anything. And the fact that we have this kind of single wick against the wall here, and these 3 wicks, right? Higher, or it's here high, lower, lower. Okay, show me that we do have some buyers right below where we are. So again, I'm still going to hold on this one and wait until we get up to this area and then potentially short. We'll see what its kind of ascent looks up. If for some reason there is some unexpected news and we do have a pop-up with news, then yes, I'd be looking to short and take these 2 positions over. But as far as right now, really, I mean, we're just too far away from it right now. I just don't think we're going to get an entry on this pair. Looking at these 3 time frames. Looking at pound Aussie. All right. So pound Aussie. Check this thing out as far as movement, right? Little spike up, little spike down, little spike up, and we're at the same exact spot, right? It's same idea. Again, we're right here. Again, this is like beating, this is like what we saw in August, right? Where it was just so slow, it was just ridiculous. Again, here's right now at 21:30. That's where we were last night, and that's exactly where we are right now. So little spike down, little spike up, kind of a rebound effect, right? A little push down. Oh, that was hard. Push all the way back up, back, and then stabilized. So again, looking on the daily, what are we? We are sideways engulfed, and I'd say we're a little bit more bearish at this point. Going across, we're going to run into this candle first. No, actually, it'd be bullish. We would hit this candle first. But again, it's consolidating. Lower, 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 higher, higher, kind of forming a V. Although we still have a bit to go, it'll probably connect somewhere over in here. So hopefully by Friday we get some movement in this one, and it doesn't come to that final kind of conclusion. Trying to think even if I would take this if we can get up to the zone. I don't think I would use this basing here. I think I would wait until we got up into the purple area again. If I was going to set anything up, I think I would be looking for something up here, right? For any type of news spike. Like if we do get some pound news tomorrow, if we do get a spike into this area, I'd be looking to sell. Okay. Vice versa, probably down here at the bottom as well. If I extended this zone across, change this to red as well. Use that for any type of news spike, top and bottom. Kind of sandwiched it in there. Okay. Euro pound. Mm, mm, How about that for movement? Yeah, this was a boring day, and I said this yesterday. It's just kind of one of those things. You're like, yeah, it's gonna be so painful. It's like, oh, even at Natix today, I was like, yeah, get ready for a snooze fest, and that's exactly what we did, right? This is why, like, if you guys have ever watched the Natix presentation, this is why I talk about how I'm not a slave to the computer. That there's no reason to sit here and stare at this for 16 hours. Because literally, if you had done this for 16 hours today, what would you have done? It literally stayed inside this one channel we talked about. You're like, oh yes, it popped. Oh no. Again, rubber band out top, rubber band out bottom, and back in the same area. So the pound is not really showing us anything. Okay, we are still in a downtrend. It says sideways down confirmed. Again, it's obviously in a downtrend. We have lower lows. Having this little spike here, this obviously kind of messed a little bit of the analysis up, as you can see over here. It gave us that one candle that got pretty crazy, right? Um, Starting to get a bit busy in here with all the lines, but again, I got to kind of leave it because it's all based off of this lower time frame right now. So, but you guys can see this one top to bottom kind of obviously messed it up as far as easy analysis goes. But again, pull back down again, lower. This is a lower low. This is a higher low. Okay, so we're starting to worry because orders are being put in with these wicks here. Looking into the top side, again, you guys can see we do have this nice little zone right here still. And again, if you don't have this marked off, it's 92. I'm sorry, it's 90-20. Definitely, I'd be looking for shorts if we can get back into that area. This was the break, retest, and launch, and it was a pretty nice launch to the downside. And this one came right up until the peak of it. So again, we know that there's most likely going to be sellers there next time. So again, we will take this and we put it here and put that as a red kind of sell zone. Did I already have a line there? I'll delete that line and put us, yeah, right in there. Okay, that's going to be marked as a sell zone. Yeah, I mean, there's really no more analysis you need to do on this one. I mean, this is obviously the epitome of kind of sideways movement. This is that one we missed from last night, and today it did really nothing top to bottom. Looking at euro yen. All right, so euro yen. Okay, now technically in this one we are in an uptrend right now. All right, now, the thing that makes this one a little bit interesting is typically you don't want to be buying at the top, right? In this case, we'd be looking to sell. Okay, this is based off of a small basing area. It dropped, it went sideways and dropped. Now, it has tested this area once before, and we're seeing somewhat of a pullback. Now, looking at the lower time frame to see if we can make this zone any better, right? Goes all the way back to here. Okay, so we could have refined this level just slightly. Probably there is how we could have refined it. Probably do it off of there, although it's probably fine. And then we'll bring it all the way across. All right, so let's see what our risk is on this one. Looking at about 15 pips. Okay, 15 for 94 in this one. Okay, what I would do is if we get, again, we marked off the two profit targets, the one we bounced off of already. It kind of came back down again, but I would use this as still the same profit target for profit target 1, profit target 2. Profit target 1 in this one would be about 46. And then profit target 2 would obviously be the 97. Okay, so 15 for 46, you have your 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Oops. So wait, why is that not working? There you go. Something along those lines. Okay. And again, this is one we pointed out last night. Okay. I can, for those people with OCD, I'll fix this. Just there you go. All right. So that's about the only thing I have on this pair right now for euro yen. If we do start to form a base and start to go higher, again, it's at 15 pip risk. I'm just going to let it go. Again, not necessarily forcing a trade because it's something we set up yesterday. Again, are we shorting when it's going up? Yes, but it is running into areas where we have seen prior selling. So it's one of those things that we you kind of got to go with the chart tells us, especially when the markets are this slow. Okay, look at euro dollar. What do we see? Nada. Okay. little bit of a pop off this base here, right? Popped up, but again, these are lower highs, okay? And this is a large base with a pop and a retest. And again, higher low, okay? You guys can see this right here. Down, up, okay? Um, Still haven't gotten any retests of that bottom side though. Yeah. Like I said, it's just consolidating. I just don't see. I mean, there's not even European news tomorrow morning. Oh, it's killing me. Yeah, I just don't think there's anything going to be, unless there's something that, Trump really makes some type of statement or makes a tweet. I just don't see how this one is really going to gain any traction tomorrow at all either. Okay. Um, Again, all it is consolidation. If you look here, we're obviously in sideways movement. Is there anything top or bottom that's really close that's, base level? No, just the base that we're in right now, right? Here's something, and obviously up here's something, but that's kind of, there's nada. And again, these are the two downside targets that we're looking at. It came up, it went down about 1-to-1, and then ended up popping out the top. So you may have taken a 14 pip loss again, back here on the 4th last week. But besides that, you can see where we got stopped out, the price hasn't left that in a week. So again, small kind of pullbacks, but that's about it. Nothing for really overnight or longer term than that. Looking at your Aussie, we're in like record time tonight. Again, there's just so much stuff that's sideways. It's hard. Now, we do have a downtrend setup situation here, although you guys can see we had the red dotted line talking about what it was going to pop off of, right? Here we are there, and here we were last night. Okay, so this green candle is where we started, and this is where it started right now. So we're more or less at the same area. You guys can see we've been kind of wedged. And even though it is sideways, this one does have a little bit more movement. I mean, you can see the channel top to bottom is about 50 pips, which is not a lot for this pair. I mean, if you guys are looking across, the ATR on this one, you can see it's in a fast decline back down again, but the ATR is back to 99. So it's right now, today, the last 2 days, it's moved half of its single day ATR sideways. Okay, and again, it's because there's just no news driving it. Okay, news doesn't stop it from going to an area and turning, but what it does is it acts as a catalyst and makes it move faster. Okay, without that catalyst there, it typically will just take its jolly old time and just move. Okay, and again, this pair, you guys can see the ATR at one point, in August was up to 140. Okay, now we're back down to 100, and you can see it's fast. It's fast heading to the downside. Other thing too is I don't know that I would go in, even though it's a downtrend setup, I don't know that I would short this pair anymore, just because we are getting so close down here at the bottom. We had this zone that it bounced off of. There's another zone right below that down at 159.74. About 70 pips from where we are down now, less than 1 day, less than one ATR down. So it's kind of at the stage now where we're more looking for, is there long possibilities in here? Is there a nice explosive zone that we could kind of, wait for a pullback and get in? I don't know that. No, that's just a profit target. That's not really like the best bound. That's not really the best entry point. Um, if we can get up to this dotted line here at 161.87, I think we may have a bit of a retrace back to the downside, and it'll be interesting to see if this one holds a second time. At least that would kind of break us out of this kind of bottom channel and get us farther down. Like I said, if we can get into this bottom section where we had this turn last time, I'd be a lot more likely to be looking for a serious long in this position. But as of right now, there's really not too much here. I mean, it's just sideways. Pound yen. So pound yen has had the big 9 pips in 24 hours. Okay, we got spoiled with the movement from Monday morning. And what has it done? Again, it had its little bit of a pullback, and again, just sideways. Okay. Now this one has ground a little bit higher on the 4-hour, which is nice. Okay. Again, you can see this is where the candle is now for the 19. Look back, and we go to here, which is the 19 candle, and it is slightly higher. Okay. We are about 20 or 30 pips higher from where we were, but that's not huge movement. Now, the one interesting thing that I do like about this one is the fact that we are starting to really kind of break out of the top side of this channel. Okay, we're starting to fall with. We're right there. you guys can see it's just above kind of where price is currently. So now is where we're going to figure out, and you guys can see on this one, right? It's at the very, very top, okay? We're going to see if this has the power to hold or if this zone is officially broken. Okay, if it's broken, we're going to remove it from our charts. There's no reason in keeping this zone here. But you're also starting to see, somewhat of a pullback from that zone. So it is going to be a trap. Okay, without a doubt, it is going to be a trap because it's very easy to see this kind of spike. Again, looking at this spike here, you guys see where that piece is. This is easy for support and resistance traders. You're going to say, oh, there's a peak here. Oh, there must be sellers here. And yes, there is. It's just, are you going to get trapped in it the first time or not? That's why we have the retest. So we'll see if we can break out. Remember, if we do get a breakout on the top side, and it is a clean break, it is clear, there is white space in there, and then it comes back and retests, yes, that is a potential for a long. But what I would do is I would probably try to shake my risk a little bit. I think that's all we can do with that one. I mean, even on the 4-hour, the only things I would mark off is if we have any type of news spike, if there is any type of Brexit spike, is an area there, right? That's a nice little kind of pullback. Change that to the green because it's on the bottom side. Besides that, not really much. Let's drop down to 2 hours, see if we can find something in there. No, because the wick goes all the way down. Even on 2 hour, there's really nothing explosive except this. So if we do get a pullback, let's see, how much space do we have here? Yeah, there's about 170. So that is one potential trade setup that we could put on this one. Okay, again, we are in the upper zone here. We typically don't want to go long back into it. But the way that it's crept up, it's eaten all the orders up again. If it does come back to get that final push through and is able to come back down to here or even in a spike to the downside, that could be a potential for us to go long. It's got about 170 before it gets back up to the same level again. So wouldn't be a bad little area to grab some orders. I don't think this is going to be enough here. It's just not explosive enough move off of it. It took, 3 candles? It took 12 hours to kind of get out of that base, that same area. So I wouldn't quite consider that an extended range or a powerful move. So I wouldn't quite. I don't think if we have a pullback just down here to this level at the 132.62, I don't think I would use that one. I mean, that's a little bit. It's just not enough. Okay. So again, I'd be marking this one off for later in the week. Look for some type of a spike. I think we have. Yeah, it's gonna have to be a Brexit move. It's gonna have to be a Brexit note, unfortunately. But like I said, that's it. That's the only kind of that's the nicest level we got. And again, the next one we have is all the way up here at 134.40 or 140. What is it? 134.50 to 134.80 is the next little kind of selling zone up top, which is clean. And make sure that's the right one. It's a basing level, but it's not great. I don't really love it on there. Yeah, that's where it's coming off of. Probably do that. Yeah, I mean, and you have a single wick here too. You got the single wick against a wall. So you have a wick against a wall and a level of basing with price entered, turned, and popped. It's probably a better area. Yeah, we got quite a bit of room. So again, lower side, I'll take that off. Kind of here and here are the 2 areas that we're looking for. All right. All right, let's see what we got in pound dollar. Load. So for my oil traders out there, what are you guys thinking as far as oil tomorrow? What's the forecast on oil? Coming in at minus 2.9. What do you guys think on that? Those of you that have looked at it already, you guys starting to form opinions on that one, or are you going to look at it in the morning? You know, I'm always a morning of person. All right. As you guys are waiting to answer that one, look at the pound dollar. Okay, pound dollar, same thing. Do we have movement? Not so much, right? Okay. In 24 hours, you guys can see this one has moved a total of 1 pip. Okay. And again, 19 is here. You guys can see. Here we are right now at 21.30. And when we go back here, we are at 21.30 right here. Okay. So we had a little bit of a pop up, a little bit of a pop down. Again, right into this bottom section, kind of went up and over and sideways. So maximum top to bottom movement today of what you can got on both, spears was about 68. So if you were able to get or the pop up or the pop down, there was kind of about 30 pips you were able to grab on this one. And again, a lot of that was this kind of push, this kind of push down and then kind of the retrace back up again. So this retracement was about the best thing that you had going for you. And again, it occurred super, super early in the morning at 3:30 on Tuesday and then kind of rallied all the way back up again. And about 9 a.m. today, you were out. And that was about it. That was really the best looking thing that you have in here. After that, it was only about 25 pips that you could have done anything with. Okay, there's just not enough meat on anything here. So again, spike up, spike down. This really, really fast. Again, it's about the only thing we have. But you would have had been up at 3:30 in the morning to be able to trade this one. Waiting for James's inside man. I know it. I don't know if James is still talking to the inside man after last week. All right. But again, if you're up in the middle of the night, guys, this is the only trade that you had here as far as the pound goes, right? As far as the only setup, okay? And again, where we are right now, looking for 4-hour windows. Again, I don't necessarily like when the low is in the kind of the blow up candle. I prefer when it's the other way around. But we do know, again, the first profit target here, okay, when we talked about this would be profit target. That's about the, this is kind of the, where you're looking for a spike, right? Oops, not that big. You're kind of looking at that area right there. If we get a spike down, look for a retest back up again. Okay, it's a 4-hour zone. We had a nice pop off of it. It's already showed us that there are sellers in here. If you want to get really kind of that's about what you're looking at, right? Because it would be below. If the price is spiked all the way down, it's cleared the orders till that point, came down, touched the level of buyers, and went up. So again, there's your refined zone at this point. You guys can see it down here. Okay, and now again, we do have a trigger here, this yellow line. The trigger is at 122.63. Okay, I would definitely use that 122.63. It will alert you and let you know the price has fallen that far. Now that alert right now is about 100 pips, so it's going to really take something for it to move today, unless they figure out and they pass a vote for Brexit tomorrow. I think it's dropping in one day, but again, use technology. But that's the first real trigger that I see on this one. Okay. If the price break through the supply zone, does that mean the supply zone a demand zone then? Sort of, yeah, it can be. Yeah, there's a what we call as a momentum breakout, where it uses those same orders. So typically where there are buying and selling orders, like in those zones, the supply and demand zones, what you typically will find is there's reasons why there's buyers and sellers there. Now, we don't know the reasons. The reasons, they don't necessarily matter, but it's typically big money there. And typically it's their algorithms that are saying, okay, this is X percentage of something, we need to do this. And when they do that, what happens is it flips the equation all of a sudden, say, okay, well, here's the percentage on the opposite side that they need to kind of reestablish and kind of it's if you guys have ever heard the saying rinse and repeat, it's kind of the same idea. It's kind of the same principle. Okay, there was a reason they did that. There's a reason why if price drops X number of percent, like in stocks, it happens all the time, right? Like a lot of people don't realize most of the money lost in the stock markets are typically done inside of hedge funds, right? And what happens is that buying and selling in hedge funds is automatic. When price drops down to a certain level, they take in this much of a risk. They need to, and again, it's both ways. It could be if it goes down too much or if it goes up too much, they have to buy and sell and rebalance. So it's kind of all pre-programmed to where those areas are. So in this case, when you have large areas of sellers, it's not retail traders that are moving the markets. It's the large money, the big money out there. So when they're selling it from a certain area, again, they have to reacquire it at the same level. Now, does it last forever? No. But typically one or two times you'll see that, old selling becomes new buying and vice versa. I will typically use it for kind of the first retest of it. And a lot of times what you'll see is when it gets down to one of those zones, it will base on one of the lower time frames. So yes, it does break through. So in essence, it's not supply becomes demand and demand becomes supply. You will typically see basing, and that's the reestablishment of orders in those zones, if that makes sense. Okay. Hopefully I didn't lose anybody on that one, but that was an opportunity to teach something tonight, so I'm all for it. All right. So again, in this one, again, still bearish. I don't really see any huge. I mean, again, if you look on the top, we don't have a red, green, red. There's no confirmation. Even in here, there's not really a great confirmation. I mean, yes, there's a red, 5 greens across for 4 greens and a drop below, but it ended on such a crappy note. I don't think I would take it. And again, this was a new spike, and since that time, haven't got anything. So bearish, but not a real great entry. I'm kind of waiting on this one for price to kind of pop to the downside. Pound New Zealand. And I've been on this like black tea kick for like this like last week. We got this other tea when we were in Vancouver. I can't read the package. It's like a Japanese tea, but it's like I said, it's fermented brown rice and green tea. I love the stuff, but it's like legit Japanese tea. Like all the writing is in Japanese, so yeah, I can't really get that on the East Coast. But I only have like 2 or 3 tea bags left, so I'm like, man, I gotta save that for a special occasion. So now I like tore into like the standard celestial black tea, and I've really been on this kick for the last week. Pound New Zealand's in a hard spot, right? Again, it's kind of it has been going up and channeling up and down. Okay, we did have a red, green, red, a little bit of a fake out on this pop that we talked about yesterday. As far as today, again, here's where we are right now at 19. Looking back, you can see that we were right here at 19. So it did rally a little bit up. Again, 21 to here. So we did go down a little bit, didn't quite get to this kind of trigger mark that we talked about. And again, down, up, and just kind of base sideways. So we did mark off this zone here, and we did graze the very, very top of it about 9:30 this morning. I missed this one. I've been focusing so much on getting that news sheet together, which I made progress today. Just so you guys know, so for those of you who don't know, on Thursday, and this is what I've been doing all day today, I've changed the format. So originally it was going to be a spreadsheet, right? I was going to give the full spreadsheet, but then I realized it was way too busy. So then I was going to create a different spreadsheet and give people the option to be able to add to it. But then I realized that the size of that was going to get to be too much and it was going to be a little bit too hard. So then I was like, okay, maybe I can just turn this into a PDF file. Then I was like, okay. Then I was going to change it. Okay, let me bring it over and turn it into a Word document because that'll be the easiest to turn into a PDF file. And then it can be locked so people can't change it around. But then I realized that I was teaching too much in a free giveaway. So I was like, okay, let me pull some of the data back. So now it's going to be a PDF file that I'm going to have out, and it'll be done by this weekend. But I'm going to put the opt-in. So the opt-in will be on Thursday. That people will kind of get their name on the list, and the same software that the website is on can also handle the automatic mailing of it. So, but it's got to be below 3 megs, so I can't put too many pictures in there. So it's going to just be charts. So, needless to say, I've been so far into Excel and Word. It's been a rough day. So I was glad that the markets did nothing today because I was able to be non-distracted and just deal with that. But it's looking good. I think we're gonna I think it's gonna be the presentation is already done for Thursday, and then obviously the class with the official rules in it is. I'll record that this weekend and probably the goal will be to release that on Monday. But I'm gonna do the I guess reference manual is what I'm going to be giving out for free with information, and that'll be hopefully by Friday. I'm going to probably put the opt-in, and then the goal is to email it out by Friday to everybody that signed up for the opt-in, and then again, you guys will get the class notification on Monday. Okay. But again, so this one again missed the entry at 9:30 this morning. The risk in this one wasn't bad. Again, this was the level we marked off last night. It was the last time we had a big push to the downside. So if anybody got into this one, you barely made it in. It was 28, and again, back down to the profit target, and the profit target would have been 85. So just over, right around the 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio had you taken advantage of this one. Okay. Like I said, there wasn't much out there. This is one of the pairs that I have on my standard kind of default that I look at. Ernest is about the only one that looks at this one, although I guess he's sworn off the pound for a little bit. But yeah, so that was about the only trade setup we had in the pound today. Okay, jumping across the New Zealand dollar. Now, obviously, I don't have New Zealand dollar on this scanner. I don't tend to use it too often because the moves just aren't as large. And you guys can see, what did it do? Right? We had an alert if price went higher, we were gonna get in this one short, and it's already starting to base. It's already starting to kind of put different tops in, right? So here was our high. Here's an attempt to go high. Here was a lower high, and again, we're starting to see kind of some big movement to the downside. So we are in a single wick against the wall right now, right? And again, this shows us that price did retrace. And again, on a lower time frame, you'll see red in there. It's just the single wick on the larger time frame is just signifying that yes, there is a pullback in here. It's not a very large pullback, and it was fast, but it's there. Dropping the 30-minute, you can see that this is a little bit clearer image of it. You guys can see that we have, this area right here, right? And that's kind of what it's bouncing off of. It got close, it got close, got closer, got closer. And again, this is really the fourth kind of strike through. So I do believe that we will probably start to break through, in which case, I'd be looking for some type of a short down into this area. But here's where the problem is on this one, right? So again, if this was any other pair, this would be great. Okay, but in this case, looking from the break of this zone down, you're talking about 18 pips. So it's kind of like, do we take the 5 pips risk? I mean, yes, you could say, oh, well, I'm only going to risk 3. It's like, yeah, but talking about the spread, your spread is going to be, in this one, your spread is currently 4, right? 13 to 17. So you're talking about 4 is what your spread is. Your risk in this one is only 5. So if you add the spread buffer in, that's over, that's over half. Basically, that's half of what the actual profit target is. Not a good trade. Okay, so although it's setting up, it's not really a trade that we'd want to take or anything that's viable. It's just there's not enough movement in there. Okay, and again, that's what can happen. Let's see what's the ATR on this guy right now. ATR is down to 40, 42, and dropping rapidly. So. If we have another day like this, it's flat. This will obviously be under, okay, because we have some of these bigger candles that we're going to start eating up in there. So, yeah, you're right. With Brexit, everything's scary though. Anything that has a pound in it technically is scary, but something like the pound New Zealand is especially scary, especially with referendums and votes and everything else in there. Yeah, honestly, I wish pound New Zealand had a Nadex pair, because then you can get in there and get a little bit more of those kind of odds, and if it goes against you, again, you don't lose a whole lot. Looking at pound Swiss. So pound Swiss, you guys can see, is down -4. And again, it's all retracing, right? It's down -3, but then the last hour, it's basically been up, right? So again, you guys can tell that it's going to be a bit of a retest, right? Price drove down, came to this level of basing. Okay, you can see the level of basing right here. Right here. Okay. And again, I think we talked about this last night, but I said that it's probably too small. And of course, it took off on us. Let me measure this one. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's only 5 pips, 4.8. So it would have been viable, but it was a 10:30 this morning trade. It was a viable trade. 5 pips is small. Let's see, would we have taken that one? Did anybody take this one out there? This would have been a viable one at about 9:30 or about 10:30 this morning. So you could have taken this one. And taking it back up to here, there would have been your front run. So it's almost a profit. Again, it would have been like 33. With it being only about 5 pips, I probably would have taken it at 30. 30 would have been right there. I guess I could switch these the other way. Hold on. That would be this guy. And here. Okay. I didn't take this one, obviously. Again, at 10:30, I was doing spreadsheets. And what did you guys? Yeah, I wouldn't trade. I know, right? On Nadex. Yeah, I wouldn't trade anything else. It would be cool, right? So I did tell you guys about my word today, right? I hit my son in the face with a lacrosse ball 2 minutes before, not even 2 minutes before the bus came. Literally, there was just blood gushing out of this one nostril. I was like, "Oh my god!" It was like everywhere. I was like, "Yep, I win the parenting award of the day." So needless to say, my morning was a little crazy, right? So no, I didn't catch this one, but you guys could have caught it. Again, it drove deep in there. So for me, I wouldn't have classified this as the highest quality trade. Only moving 30 pips. You could have tried it with a binary, but it would have been a little bit risky, I think. Again, taking 5 pip risk on this one may have been something small. Again, it was technically in an uptrend setup situation on the hourly. I'm sorry, on the daily. Again, pulling back, not really a super crisp, clear zone on the 4-hour. That's the problem. So we were in a downtrend setup here. Here, not the best little zone. And even when looking at it, the fact that it drove so deeply into the zone, again, you always got to be careful with that, right? Because price is cleared all the way down, okay? And again, this time it just happened to work out. I mean, you're not going to catch them all, but this is one that you guys could have potentially got into today as well. So my bad for telling you guys that it wasn't the best thing from last night. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, but like I said, it was a downtrend setup based off of what the daily was. So you could have taken this. This would have been a viable entry to get into. Looking at dollar CAD. Now we just saw over here. We saw that here dollar CAD plunges to new 6-week lows amid rising oil prices. It plunged. Okay, let's see the plunge here. There's the plunge. Okay, there's your plunge. So what did it do? Okay, I'm assuming that they mean this is the plunge right here. And when they say plunge, they mean like 30 pips. Just for the record, the plunge is 30 pips. Now, we talked about this zone last night a bit, right? Here's at 21. And where is it? 21 is right here, 21.30. Okay. We talked about being in this zone and we talked about it being a little bit large, but again, we were looking for any type of a pullback. Okay. Where is it? Angry Mac. Okay. This is one of those situations where we had a level supply up top. Now, this is a pullback, right? So what it did is this originally was a buy area, and it came through, kind of broke through the bottom, got clear, came back up, and then again, we were trying to refine the buying area is what we were trying to do in this one. And actually, we could have refined it off of here. Would have probably been the better right there. Would have been the actual kind of entry for this one. So again, it did pull back. Again, it left the area as well, came up and retouched, went even lower, broke a bunch of levels, which I like, pulled back, kind of just grazed the end here, and then again we got our drop. This must be the plunge they were talking about. It was 2 hours, and the price dropped from 131.70 to 131.40. So 30 pips in 2 hours. That was the plunge because of oil. We'll see what it's able to do. So looking at it now, going into tomorrow, the fact that we do have oil. Okay, looking at a 4-hour, you can see we're in an interesting area right now because this is where the start of the last kind of big extended range candle was. If you're looking to the left, okay, so we know that price has been driven up from this area. Now, the green is not the low candle. The red is before, and the red is quite lower, right? It's down at 131.05, about 35 pips, about 40 pips actually from where we are right now to the downside. So it does give us kind of an interesting kind of entry, right? And now that area, if you look, there's this blue line, okay? There is this wick over wick, right? I'm going to duplicate this, and I will turn these two into my zone markers, right? There's our wick over wick, right? Well, it's a little wick over wick, but it's basically a little sideways base, right? Large pop, basing, and then pop. You guys can see it's a little wick over wick followed by a single wick against a wall over here. And you can see, grazed it, went deep. So again, typically when you see it this deep, it could be gone, although it's the first time it's really been tested. And that could be what we're looking for to the downside. Now, it is forming a little bit of a base above. Again, this area is down at 111.18, about 20 pips, about 30 pips actually from where we are right now. So we could be looking at price actually sucking down into that area, okay? If you were still short this pair, I would probably get myself out because we're now putting in higher lows. It did pull back, but it failed to go even lower into this zone. Again, you're well over 3-1 at this point, so just take this one off and see if we can get down. So looking into tomorrow, again, with oil news, if we can get some type of reversal in this pair and we get a pop back up into this This upper blue zone, okay, I'm going to extend this across to the side, right? How much is this? Let's see. We're talking about, do I need to refine it? That's about 12. Okay, I'm fine with a 12 pip risk on this one. Whoops. 12 pips is entirely doable. And again, if we're going to do at least a 3-to-1, we'll see what we look like to the downside. But if it comes over to here, 3-to-1 is basically to where price is right here. That's actually 37. Oops. There, something along those lines. So this gives you a little bit better than a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. It's risking 12, looking to make 37. Yeah, this one says 37.8, but I'd put it about right inside of this area in here. Maybe just slightly higher. Okay, but again, that is on the news spike. If we do get a 40 pip spike up, look at the turn and take this to the downside with news. Okay, now looking at dollar yen, he'll be fine. Just got to sneeze one way. No, he's okay, actually. I drove him to school because I felt so bad. I threw his twin brother on the bus. He's like, well, I'll take the bus. I'm like, all right, you take the bus. Asher, get in the car. I'm like, all I need you to do is get on the bus and just, have blood pouring everywhere. I'll have child services on my door. You hit your son in the face? Like, hey, sort of. It hit the stick. It hit the head first and then ricocheted off the lacrosse head into his face. So, I mean, it wasn't like I just threw it at him and he wasn't paying attention or anything. All right. So we talked about this. If we can get a continuation to break out of the top, what did it do? It actually went lower. It grabbed more orders down here, right? And what did it do? It pushed out the top. So we're going to see if we can actually get it to break out now. So it's starting to follow the rules, right? We want it to push higher, but we're not quite there yet, right? So, I mean, I can move this over, but, I'll leave it, right? This is what we want. We want an actual clear break before we retest down. And then, oh God, what is that? All right, platform is starting to lag. I do have about 30 windows open at the point, though. There. And there. Okay, that's what we're looking for. When it happens, okay, the Harry Potter one, right? God. Yeah, it's getting laggy. All right, so we are breached at the top. Let's see if we can get some space in here. Again, it is pulling back to touch the top of the zone. I wouldn't quite classify that as enough clearance, really. We're just kind of, drilling back and forth. Let's get enough clearance out of the top side before we start looking to use this area as a sell. I'm sorry, as a buy. Okay. But that's a potential setup for tomorrow morning. I don't know if oil is going to really be able to push that around. I mean, obviously, when oil goes lower and things like that, it helps the economy. Again, we can pull in. What is oil at right now? Let's see. I love gold prices go higher. Oops, not that one. No. Oil is what I was looking for. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's higher by a couple bucks, but it's I wouldn't. Like I said, we were stuck in this channel between 56 and 54, and we broke what, $1 higher. If the numbers are bad tomorrow, where do you think this is going, right? I mean, if there's extra surplus in there, I mean this there's no reason why this can't come back down to the 56 range. So I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I mean, look what it ran into, right? No, don't need emojis. Man, they're getting real. There we go, rectangle. See, I just need basic stuff, right? How about that? Let's make it a lighter color. How about that? So you guys can see it. I mean, I'm just roughly throwing this out there, but I mean, how about that on the daily? James says it's going to 57. Oh, that's where it's at right now. Just let's play this fifth. Yeah, I mean, basically, Mac, I basically was just like, oh God, I feel horrible. Like I had it all over me, like my hands. Like he had it all over his hands. He's like, Dad, look, it's still going. And he moves the tissue, and like his whole mustache was just blood. I was like, oh God, because he was like, I told him to squeeze his nose to like get it to coagulate and stop bleeding, but I don't think he actually grasped what I meant by squeeze your nose, right? So as far as oil goes, guys, I mean, look where we're at on the daily, right? Top side of this whole thing. Again, large push up. What do we see? If it's going to continue in the channel, can it break out of the top? Sure, it absolutely can. It did pull back a little bit, but now it's starting to show red a bit. So, just looking at this at a brief level, I mean, I'd have to say that, hey, listen, over we guaranteed. I mean, it's these are higher. It was looking for something, had a spike up. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, that oil looks enticing. Look at that. Ernest is kind of like, that does look kind of interesting, right? I mean, look. I mean, how much time did that take, right? I'm over here asking you guys, and I'm like, hey, check this out. Right? Yeah. I mean, interesting place that we're at right now, right? To get something a bit farther out of the money on a spike. I mean, if you're looking, right, forecast for oil is minus 2.9. Again, interesting over here, right? The last 3 in a row, when you guys look at these things, it's rare, right? Here's 3 in a row, then 2, then 1, 2, 2, and they've had 3. So if you're looking at this, it's kind of like, all you're saying is negative, 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 negative. Dorian didn't really mess up the oil refineries at all, right? Summer's over, right? Last week was the first week where, the summer gas is people are not traveling, right? People are, kind of like, did we travel? I mean, again, Hurricane Dorian was there. Would you travel to the beach? Would you go down there if you didn't need to? No. So could that affect oil this week? Could the inventories be not as bad? What if we had a positive? What if we had a surplus this week? What would that do to oil? If we had a surplus because people were not traveling because a hurricane was hitting the United States and they weren't, spending, money on the gas, could that send price back down into the 56 range? Sure it could. Or it could completely go all the way up to 62 because James knows somebody. OPEC did say it's trying to cut oil supply. Yeah, but OPEC, nobody listens to OPEC anymore. Because here's the thing. OPEC can say we're going to cut supply, right? We're going to cut supply because there are literally tankers sitting out in the ocean right now that they can't sell, right? If that ever comes on, and eventually they have to bring it to market, which is going to drive the, obviously the supply up, right? But they say they're going to cut it, but what is everybody else going to do? Russia says, okay, you're going to cut it? Okay, we'll produce more oil then so we can pick up your difference and then we'll take that share over. Or the United States just says, okay, we'll just produce it ourselves. We don't really need to purchase your oil. We don't care. So how far out of the money do you guys look tomorrow? Oh, yeah, OPEC is always trying to cut supply. Do you guys also know that, here's the thing about OPEC. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. I have a friend that he's been an oil trader for, 20 years. He's been trading oil, and he used to be in the oil pits longer than I've been actually trading in general. And I've been trading since 2000, right? So this guy's been trading at least 25 years in oil, right? What he told me, and I didn't realize this. So obviously, whenever, like, one of the things about oil mines is you always want to know what the volume is. That is really what determines what the actual value is and how much can be pumped out of it. Well, technically, if you would have used the estimates that OPEC gave basically the world back in the 80s, like I don't even know it was called OPEC back then, but basically those guys, the inventories they told us should have ran out 5 years ago. Okay, every time we ask them for new inventory reports, because they can kind of figure out, I don't know if it's a dipstick or what it is, or there's some type of pressure testing, they can tell how much is still in there. Their estimates haven't changed in 25 years about how much oil they actually have under there. So he was saying, he goes, OPEC and their kind of, he said it's such a sham because literally, he's like, they could literally run out of oil next week and the whole world would be surprised, but OPEC would be, the people of OPEC, they'd be like, we knew this for years to come, So he said, do not believe a single word that OPEC has to say about anything. And OPEC's greed is what eventually has basically eroded OPEC's power, right? Because now Russia produces it. The United States can actually be an oil exporter. I mean, there are plenty of countries out there that have the Venezuela. I mean, there's plenty of countries now that have finally grown because of the greed of OPEC. So eventually OPEC's going to run out of oil because they're just not being truthful about it. It's pretty interesting. Man, I don't who the heck is that in yellow? I can't even see that. It's super something. Getting in for a ticket over there. I'm like, oh, it's yellow on my screen. I can't see. So again, that's what we're looking at with oil right now. I think it'll be interesting to see if this does go down tomorrow. All of you guys are going to be, oil is ridiculously manipulated by nations. Yeah. I mean, come on. We have like a strategic reserve for oil. Oh, there we go. Super suit. There we go. Yeah, it's in light yellow and with a white background, so I can't actually see it on my one monitor. So I do apologize for that. Um, so that's what I'm looking for, guys, on this. Most likely, if this were stand, if we don't really move much overnight, I'll probably be looking again. I mean, I'll drop it down to like an hourly. You guys can see it hasn't really exploded a lot. We did kind of pull up to that zone. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow morning to see if we can get a little bit further refinement, and then again potentially potentially look at taking a trade before news tomorrow morning. And remember, oil news tomorrow morning is going to be at 10:30 a.m. So we have a little bit of time in the morning to see how it reacts once future traders come online. And we'll see. Like I said, typically after hurricanes, especially when the hurricane wasn't as bad as people had imagined it would be, this one really didn't go, slam into the United States as bad as it could have. I mean, it could have destroyed half of Florida, but it didn't. But when they do forecast that, people don't travel as much as before, and yeah, we'll see. We will see. In theater mode, and the background is black for me, so the bright yellow shows up nicely. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't get to pick those colors. I don't know how those colors get picked. All right, so with that being said, let's look at CAD Yen as our last potential chart of the night. Oh, hold on one sec. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze real quick. So interesting enough, look where CAD Yen just happens to be popping up to as well. Okay, remember we talked about this yesterday and said we have this area up here, right? Now on the 4-hour chart, if price is able to come up to here before the oil news, what would we be willing to do? We'd be looking to short. So it is interesting that the price of oil in barrels, right? The W2I crude is also coinciding with what CAD Yen just happens to be doing. Okay. And again, that zone is based off of this wick over wick. And again, I did just take the top side. I didn't take the bottom side of the wick, though, just to be a little bit more cautious. Okay. So that's where we're entering right now. So what does this tell us? It also tells us that the CAD is going to become weaker and go to the downside. Okay. So it looks like oil going down, which again, that would hurt the Canadian economy. And we'll see this. So again, two different things. So would definitely be short. As far as potential targets on this one, let's see what we got here. 30, probably down there. Probably 80 to the downside. You're talking about 18 pips risk, so that would be a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I may have moved that a little bit too much. Hold on. Let's see. Let's go all the way back. We're close. It actually needs to be about there. I could actually bring that up. We're not gonna. There we go. Actually, you know what? Let me drop down. Oh yeah, starting to lag. Yep. And you guys see that before? How it was just a wick against the wall, and then when you bring it down to lower time frame, what do you see? You can see the green. So what it does is just instead of you cycling through all the different time frames, it just helps you kind of be able to know that it's there. All right. And again, look at that. It was marked off almost exact going down, and all we did was mark off the wick, right? You see how that works? We'll zoom in for you guys. Oops. You guys see how that worked out? Check that out, right? So definitely interested in getting short this pair. We'll see if we can go a bit higher. How much money do you recommend to start with when trading forex? See, so that's an interesting question. So just so everybody can hear on the YouTube side as well, Supersuit asked, how much money do you recommend to start with when trading forex? Honestly, it really depends. Forex is an interesting asset class in the fact that you have a lot of control over how much you actually make. Now, as long as you have the right expectations, it's okay to start with very small amounts of money in forex, because here's why. Okay, you can trade standard lots, which are big money. Every pip that it moves, okay, can be $10. Smaller things like mini lots is where most people start, and each pip is $1, right? $1 is not that much. If you lose it, it's some skin in the game, and you can trade that with less than a $500 account. Okay. Even lower than that, some brokerage firms offer micro accounts. Now, micro account, every pip is only 10 cents. Now, are you going to make $1 million? Are you going to be able to, be rich and quit your job with a micro account or a mini account? No. But here's what it does do for you. It allows you to trade live in the market with a live strategy. It's like a demo, but you're actually losing some money and you actually have skin in the game. Okay. And here's the thing. Do you want to use $25,000 in an account to prove that you don't know what you're doing? Absolutely not. Maybe you have $1,000 and you want to trade minis. Now, can you actually make $100, $200 a week in minis on a $1,000 account? Sure, you absolutely can. I mean, that's $800 a week. I mean, you can do the math on that one, right? And maybe that changes your world. Everybody's world is different, right? If you want to start with less than that, you can start with 200, 250, 300, and even trade at a lower level. And in fact, you can actually, with $300 to $500, you could actually trade forex as well with mini lots. Okay. And again, each pip, going for $30, $50, $40 here and there. Again, it's about practicing a strategy in live conditions. Like I said, demo mode and live mode are definitely different. There's slippage, there's whether you get filled or not. It is a different environment. So I highly encourage people. And this is one of the things that I love about currency. Yeah, you've been trying to learn, I guess micros. Yeah, I mean, micros are good if you've never tried it ever. Again, demo it a little bit, get a little bit of experience, and then give yourself a budget. Maybe set yourself $100 or $250. If you can afford $250 to start trading, trade minis, right? And if you're losing $10, $12, again, that will, you better figure it out. Now, trading smaller accounts is obviously harder than larger accounts, okay? But if you focus on things like your risk to reward ratio, it doesn't matter how big or how small your account is. It's the ratio that you're worried about. You'll see us a lot of times that I'll talk about, like in this trade right here, we're risking 17 to make 84 or 82, right? It's over a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay. What that does for you is it means that you only need to be right 26% of the time and you're still making money. Okay. What it does is it takes a lot of when you focus on good money management, it takes a lot of the pressure off of you of having to basically perform and be, right 80, 90, 100% of the time type thing. Okay. And it isn't a broker to use. Yeah, honestly, if these charts, this is IG. I'm really enjoying IG. I got to say, it's once you get over the initial learning curve, very easy to use. They have a lot of support over there. They do a lot of videos. By me telling you this, I don't get anything for this. I'm just telling you, I love the way that the charts are. They definitely have some perks. And if you're new to this, try them out. If you don't like IG for some reason, or you live in, I think it's like New Mexico or Arizona or something like that, then you would have to use a different brokerage firm because they haven't. Their IG is new on the market. They haven't gotten fully licensed here yet. There's like one state to go. Then I would use Oanda. Oanda is actually where I have my live accounts. For me to switch over to IG, I have to go through a big process because my wife is a financial advisor. So every single one of my accounts has to get approved before I can do anything with it, which is kind of a royal pain in the butt. But that's just, it is what it is. So I would go with IG first. That's who this is. Or Oanda are the two that I would choose. All right. Now, if you want to learn more from us as well, we do these every night. Make sure you join. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit follow or subscribe. And again, we can click the Discord and YouTube down below. And again, you can get as much information out of us as you want. All right. Estimated draw on floats last week, so maybe short. Oh, you may still be short. James is going to get all technical on us with oil. All right, guys. Oh, I see it. There's the shark. I see him finally. Supersuit, they've been showing me, they've been telling me that there's been a dancing shark and I haven't been able to see it. I hear the sound and I'm like, wait, what happened? And then you can see the shark. And the shark basically just means that somebody subscribed or followed or whatever it is. But like I said, I do these Monday through Thursday every night at 9 p.m. Join us. You'll pick up a lot of stuff and it'll give you some good pointers to start getting, to get moving on your way. All right. And again, ask questions in here. Join the Discord channel as well. Everybody in the Discord channel is very helpful. If you ask some questions or need some assistance, that's what those guys will, give you a hand with in there. All right. So guys, it is 10 after 10. I'm going to get rolling. I'm going to go check on the baby, see how she's going, and I'm going to go refill and get another tea. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the oil release. We'll see if we can make some money tomorrow morning, and I will catch you guys tomorrow night, 9 p.m. same time. Super Suit, welcome to the group. Okay, take care, guys.